And welcome to the Writer's Life, a place where you get the sight, sound, smells, taste of my particular writer's life, and where you get the truth about the writer's life. Come to you from outside again. Looks like it's going to storm pretty soon, so I don't know how long I can do this video without soaking my equipment. So I get right to it. But first, subscribe, punch the like button, and the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on one single exciting fucking video. Got to get an F-bomb in there. Okay, so relationships. How odd they've become for me. You go through stages, like in the beginning, 20 some odd years ago, when I said, I'm giving up my dad's construction business. I'm going to be a full-time writer. I'm going to write books and all this sort of stuff. Everybody laughed, literally laughed. You know, my friends, people I'd see every Friday, go out and get drunk with, you know, like all the binge drinker guys, of which I was part. You know, you're crazy. You know, you got this construction business. You could do both. You can write on the side. That was the big thing. You can write on the side. And then suddenly, you know, like I work my tail off, go to school, go to writing school, get some magazine, you know, publishing some magazines, and like work my way up. And suddenly I get a big deal, big book deal. And then suddenly there was a lot of people are kind of like, you got to be kidding me. Like literally, you got to be kidding me. I actually had one friend who said, wow, I can't believe you got this kind of book deal because you were such an idiot in high school. And I was like, no, I was just bored in high school. And then except for playing football, I guess. So things changed for me a little bit after that. You know, like I kind of like drifted from some of the friends here, and like got new friends in New York, and you know, like stuff like that. Was in a band with my editor, and you know, hung out with those guys and stuff like that. Was playing in playing in clubs in New York every weekend, and I was young. I was only like 32, 33. But then, like, you know, even my marriage broke up, and I met another young lady who just loved that I appeared to be a successful writer. And she wanted me to like look at some of her writing and all this sort of stuff. And that was just a way to slip in. And, you know, anyway, I ended up marrying this person. But while this is going on, during the beginning of that relationship and throughout it, actually, I actually went through a hard time. And I wasn't picking up any writing gigs. And it was tough to get published because my first deal didn't go so well. And I left a lot of money on the table. And so, of course, she was like, she abandoned it. She's like, get out. You and your kids, get out. And so I was like, oh, all right. So I ended up getting my career back in order. And she wants back in. And at this point, like, I'm doing really well. You know, I'm winning the awards. I hit the New York Times, I hit the USA Today, #1 overall. Kindle bestseller, like all systems are go. You know, like I'm not hurting for a publisher at all. I could pretty much call somebody and say, I've got a book for you if you want it, you know, and they'll send me a check. And all it takes is like one phone call from a relative saying, like, have you read Vince's new book? I think I recognize your parents in it. And like that's it. Like that would spell the beginning of the end. And anyway, like her, I don't want to like bash her by any means, you know, because she was good to me too. And we have a daughter together, so. But like it was funny, like her parents would not like recognize my writing at all. They wouldn't. Like her dad would say, "Oh, like this one writer gave a speech at a college, you know, like the valedictorian speech or whatever." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know the guy, you know, or whatever." But he wouldn't acknowledge it. Like he wouldn't like acknowledge like you're on the level of this guy, right? You know, like so it was very strange. And so like, okay, again, I get kicked out, which will be the last time. But then other things happen. Like even I noticed like like all of the old friends I had like are gone. Even some of the guys I went to writing school with who I was still friends with, like gone. Just everybody sort of disappeared. Now, I don't know if it's because I spend just about all my time writing or because of my travels or whatever. But like my relationships have become very odd. And I find myself being more and more a bit of a loner, aside from like friends I'll see out or something like that. And I did a little research on it, and one in particular relationship bothers me, and this is a person who was my best friend in high school or whatever. Like he avoids me like the plague. And I have a couple of friends from college who won't even acknowledge that I write, won't even acknowledge it. They'll talk about other books while I'm right in front of them, but they won't even, like, Vin, how's the writing going? Nope, nothing. I asked them how they're doing, but anyway, that's where I am. And so I did a little research on this topic, and it turns out like this is not at all uncommon. I'm not unique in this situation. When you're friends with a creative person, you become threatened. You feel threatened if they actually succeed at it, because you might have chosen the safer path. You chose the industry path. You did what you were supposed to do. You got a safe job. Even if it's lucrative, you have your 60-40 portfolio. You get your 2 weeks vacation a year, and that's the life you have chosen. But like my life couldn't be more different. And I feel like my quality of life, I might not make as much money as like some hotshot lawyer in New York, but not even close, right? But my quality of life, I feel, is probably far better. And I think people will find that threatening, so some people might find this video a little bit odd, but just like the title. But it is something as writers, especially if we achieve a certain amount of success, it is part of the writer's life, and it is something that we experience, and a lot of us experience it. And in fact, my first ex-wife and I are friends, and she's a full-time artist, and she's like, wow. And she does very well, and she was explaining to me, she's like, it's weird how like some of my friends like are no longer really my friends anymore. And I'm like, well, yeah, go figure, because you're becoming, very successful. So anyway, just some food for thought. Relationships. So if you're going to be a success in your writer's life, you can expect some really big changes in your relationships. So there you go. I rambled a little bit, but anyway, hope you had a great weekend and still enjoying it. And I will come to you guys tomorrow. Ciao, ciao, ciao.